hair salon is attempting to ban members of the LGBTQ community. The salon posted on Facebook, quote, "If you don't identify as a man or a woman, you can go to the pet groomer. You are no longer welcome here." This comes after the most recent Supreme Court ruling. See, we said after Roe v. Wade that it was going to get worse, that the discrimination was going to get worse. And people said we were fear-mongering and we were ridiculous. Well, here we are. LGBTQ, next is disabilities, minorities. I mean, come on. This is getting ridiculous.
Yeah, so they're raising hell about this. They're melting down. A very popular liberal account, Brian Tyler Cohen, tweeted, "A Michigan hair salon says they're now banning members of the LGBT community after the Supreme Court's ruling upholding discrimination," sharing this news story. And look, this woman is crazy who announced this. She put out this pretty boomer Facebook post. It's Studio 8 Hair Lab in, I think, in Traverse City, Michigan, which is not that far from me.
Traverse City, yeah.
And she writes, "If a human identifies as anything other than a man/woman, please seek services at a local pet groomer. You are not welcome at this salon, period. Should you request to have a particular pronoun used, please note we may simply refer to you as, quote, hey you, regardless of Michigan HB 4744, which is anti-discrimination law." And then she puts in parentheses, "Kiss my ass, Governor Whitmer," spelling it like witch instead of Whitmer. "This is America, free speech. This small business has the right to refuse services. We are not bound to any oaths as realtors are regarding discrimination. My recent airport experience validates this." Smiley face emoji. I have no idea what's going on here. The airport experience, what? But this woman seems very confused about what the law is and what it allows, and it 100% does not allow you to tell trans people they're not allowed in your store. That's illegal under Michigan law, and the Supreme Court decision only applies to expressive speech services, like printing t-shirts or something that involves speech. Cutting hair is not a form of speech. This is totally going to get blocked in the courts. It's got zero chance of actually being allowed to do this.
Yeah, but it shouldn't, if you really think about it. I mean, I think this is a good thing. Well, one, for most people, I mean, last time I was in Traverse City, it was pretty hipster. It's a very hipster city, right? Last time I was there, at least it was. And so it's interesting that this would be taking place there. But I think that anybody should be able to choose who and who they don't serve. And I'm glad people are more open about it, because if this was happening in my area, you know what I'd say? I'd say, thank you. I know where not to go. I'm glad people are being open about their actual beliefs, because I don't want to force people to take my money. I don't want to force people that don't like me to take my money. And that's the way that, the free market actually works. So I think that, and what's going to happen is, now that this is out there, some people will start going there, but they're going to see a huge backlash, because it's not just people in the LGBTQ, the queer community, essentially is what they're saying. The LGB is fine, but the queer community is not. And so what they're going to start seeing is a lot of these people and the people that support them aren't going to go there either. So, your straight allies are not going to go to this place because they don't want to support a company that's, discriminatory against people that they like and respect and their friends and stuff like that. So I think this is the free market solution. I think that everybody should be able to do this and at least be open about it.
So look, I would never patronize this business after they compare my trans friends to dogs. I think that's pretty offensive and rude. And I would never support a store like this. So I agree. Thanks for letting us know. And you're going to suffer in the free market now. But I will say is, like, you can't just say nah, not a boo-boo to the laws that exist, right? Like, this isn't allowed legally. You're going to get in trouble with the state and lose in court. And she's literally just like, nah, boo-boo. I don't care about your laws, Governor Whitmer. Like, that's not a realistic approach to running a business. You have to comply with laws, or you're going to get hit with massive fines, or you might even lose your license to operate your business. And frankly, I mean, that's what you'll deserve for being such a dumbass and not even like trying to understand the laws before putting out this illegal statement, right? No.
Yeah.
What you're suggesting about anti-discrimination law is kind of like a libertarian utopia where there are no anti-discrimination laws. Anyone can do business with whoever they want. I understand that position philosophically. It's just not where we are. And so I've always held the belief that if the Civil Rights Act is going to exist and going to protect religion, it should also protect sexual orientation and gender identity. And so I do support those anti-discrimination laws. Unless we truly want to get rid of the whole book and go to a libertarian utopia, anything short of that, I want equality under the law, which means all groups protected, not just some groups and not others. Especially because your religion is a choice, but your sexuality is not. So it's always bothered me that religion would be a protected class, but not LGBT. Now, I will say I do support, we talked about this last week with the Supreme Court decision, narrow exceptions for speech. But like, I really don't think, unless we're going to change our whole legal structure, that you should be able to put a no gays allowed sign in your window or no trans allowed. And that's essentially what this person is trying to do. And that's not allowed. And it really, under our current legal framework, shouldn't be, unless we were going to just scrap the whole thing.
Well, I advocate to scrap the whole thing, just
right,
because I do think it's free speech, it's freedom of association, it's all under the First Amendment. I said, when the cake baker case was settled, I thought that the ruling was correct, but it was on the wrong basis because they based it off of religion when an atheist should get the same ruling as a theist.
Well, they based it off free speech based on his religion. It was a First Amendment case for the free speech clause, and that's what I support. I think it's unworkable if you can just invoke your religion and get out of anything. But anyway, I hate this thing that they do, these libs, and it's not all liberals, it's not all progressives. I know I get some comments. They're like, not all liberals. I'm a liberal and I'm not like that. And I hear you, I see you. But where they take something like this crazy story out of Michigan and they put it up and they're like, see, this is what the Supreme Court has allowed. And like, that is misinformation. If you read the Supreme Court decision, this is very clearly not allowed by that decision. And yet these same people will just do this fear-mongering alarmism, yet they'll scream and moan about misinformation the next day. I hate it. It makes me so angry.
Yeah, it is interesting. Well, what did abortion have to do with any of this?
Absolutely nothing.
The TikTok video.
Throw that buzzword in there.
Abortion. I was like, what? But yeah, I mean, but you're right. The Supreme Court ruling itself was it's always been like her business model was for weddings, and it was talking specifically about not creating a site for a gay wedding.
And
same with the cake baker.
website is speech. It's words.
Yeah. Well, and even the cake baker using his art to create something special, not just like buying something off the shelf at the store. He was okay with anybody buying stuff off the shelf, but it was creating something special for for a gay wedding, which is what he had an issue with. Those are different circumstances. And so to say, yeah, this is what happens. No, you're absolutely right. In the current system, in the way that these Supreme Court rulings work, none of them would allow for you just to be like, nope, go ahead and do this. It's actually, it doesn't violate your religious beliefs to cut somebody's hair. You're right. Unless the only way that this would be an exception is if it was for a gay or lesbian wedding. Like you were specifically, like you did the catering services, you did hair for weddings, and you said, I can't do it for lesbian weddings, or I can't do it for gay weddings. That would be the only exception.
And like, do how I'm going to sound like an absolute idiot, man. I have no idea what women do, but like they'll have like makeup artists or hairstylists come to the wedding, pre-wedding and everything. Maybe that would be like under this Supreme Court category, but just, we won't work with you. Go to the dog groomer is not allowed. That's not protected. You're going to lose in court. You're making yourself look like an ass and a jerk, and you're going to lose business and be boycotted, and you deserve that. And these people, it's just not the alarmist story that they think it is. And yet I'm seeing it all over my timeline.
No.
Like, see, the sky is falling just like we told you. But anyway, we don't need to.
One thing about this,
go ahead.
I was going to say one thing about this story though too is now where she might be protected is that she said, you can come here, we'll cut your hair, but we won't we'll call you hey you or whatever like this. So she actually almost clarified it to where it would almost be within the law.
But it's
to be like,
incoherent
we
because
just
she
won't
also
treat you with any
says-
respect if you come.
because she also says you are not welcome at this salon. So she
True.
doesn't even, her demands don't even make sense. Oh.
You're not welcome here, but we will accept you because under the law we have to.
But also
we won't
screw
treat
the
you with
law
any
and
respect.
screw Governor Whitmer.
Yeah. Now, is that law that she quoted? I don't know what law that was. Is that the law that's in the House
No.
that just passed the House recently? That is the pronoun
old
bill.
law that's already passed that protects gender identity
Okay.
as anti-discrimination, I believe. So
Okay.
she,
Then that's a
she's
lot
not
different.
Yeah, she's not flouting a proposed law. She's saying the law that exists. And that's just not going to work out well for you.